Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon and this is Shannon's Book Nook. And today we are going to be talking about all the books that I currently have on my fall TBR. Let's get into it. So fall is one of my favorite seasons. Where I live in Southeast Texas, it is very hot during the summer. So most of the summer is spent indoors in the air condition, out of the sun, because it is so incredibly hot. Now, it does not start cooling off in Texas until like the end of October. And even then, it doesn't really cool off a lot, but it's a lot better than 100 degrees with 80% humidity. So I'm very excited for fall. And I'm ready to talk about some books that I'm super excited about. So let's talk about them. Now, some of these I do own a physical copy of, but they're downstairs and I don't feel like going to get them. So I will just overlay the graphics either here or here, and I will read the synopsis. So let's go. The first one I really want to read is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. So this one is about Florence Day is the ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry. And she has a problem. After a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love. It's as good as dead. When her new editor, a too handsome mountain of a man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. But she gets a phone call she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. I'm going to stop there because say less. I'm ready to read this one. I have heard a lot of people rave about this book, so fingers crossed it works for me. The next book I'm really excited to get to is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. This is a book that's on my 25 and 2025, so it kind of checks off two boxes. But the synopsis says, Phantasma only has two rules: stay alive and don't fall in love. When Ophelia discovers her mother brutally murdered, there is no time to grieve. She has inherited the family's fearsome magic and enormous debt. Circumstances go from die to deadly. However, when Ophelia's sister decides to pay off the loan by entering Phantasma, a competition where contestants rarely escape alive, and the victor is granted a single wish. The only way for Ophelia to save her sister is to win. But Phantasma is a cursed manor, full of twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms, staffed by enticing demons and fatal temptations. And Ophelia must conquer all 9 floors to succeed if her fears don't overtake her first. Look, I don't want to keep... I'm going to keep stopping about halfway through the synopses, by the way. So, because I like to go in as blind as possible. I've heard great things about this. So many people rave about this, and it just sounds perfect for spooky season. Next up on my fall TBR, Fighting Destiny by Amelia Hutchins. This is book 1 in the Fae Chronicles. Will I be reading the whole series? I don't know, because looking into this series is extensive. It is very long. We'll see how I like book 1. Okay, so the synopsis says, have you ever heard of the old Celtic legends of the Fae, beautiful, magical, and deadly creatures that have a love of messing with humans just for kicks and giggles? Welcome to my world. What started out as a strange assignment led to one of the most gruesome murder mysteries of our time. My friends and I are set and determined to find out who is killing off Fae and witches alike. Couple of problems in the way. I hate the Fae, and the Prince of the Dark Fae is bound and determined that I work for him. He's a rude, overbearing, egotistical ass with a compulsive need to possess, dominate, and control me. Oh, and did I mention that he is absolutely sex on a stick gorgeous? And he makes me feel things that I never ever wanted to feel for a Fae. Every time he touches me or looks at me with those dangerous golden eyes, he seems to pull me in further in under his spell, despite my better judgment. Say less. Next up on my fall TBR, we have The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which is book 2 in the Dream Harbor series by Lori Gilmore. The first book in this series is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I believe is the name of the first book. So this is Hazel's story. So when a secret message turns up hidden in a book in the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, Hazel can't understand it. As more secret codes appear between the pages, she decides to follow the trail of clues. She just needs someone to help her out. Gorgeous and outgoing fisherman Noah is always up for an adventure, and a scavenger hunt sounds like a lot of fun. Even better that the cute bookseller he's been crushing on for months is the one who wants his help. Hazel didn't go looking for romance, but as the treasure hunt leads her and Noah around Dream Harbor, their undeniable chemistry might be just as hot as the fresh out of the oven cinnamon buns the bookstore sells. This is a super cute, sweet, it says spicy romance, but to be quite honest, the first book says spicy as well, and it's not very spicy, but it's still cute and cheesy and perfect for fall. Now, this next one might not be fall vibes, but it's still a cozy mystery, and I'm still excited to read it. We have Live and Let Chai by Bree Baker. And Hannah over on the Teacher TBR has recommended this book, and I trust her with mysteries and thrillers. So I'm super excited to read this one. It's Trouble is brewing in Everly's new cafe. Can she bag the culprit? Life hasn't been so sweet for Everly Swan over the past couple of years, but now that she is back in her seaside hometown and the proud owner of a little iced tea shop and cafe right on the beach, things are finally starting to look up, until a curmudgeonly customer turns up dead on the boardwalk, with one of her Hallmark glass tea jars lying right next to him and an autopsy that reports poison in his system. It doesn't look good for Everly or her brand new business. I'm super excited. Even though this is a beachy, vibey, cozy mystery, it's still a cozy mystery, so it'll be perfect for spooky season. Next is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is book 2 in the Love Light series. First book is Love Light Farms, which is a Christmas holiday romance. I believe this one is set in fall, but I could be wrong. When I looked it up, it said it's perfect for fall, so we'll see. Evelyn St. James isn't the kind of woman you forget. Beckett Porter certainly hasn't. One incredible weekend in May. That's not what that says. One incredible weekend in Maine, and he's officially a man distracted. He's not unfamiliar with hot and heavy flings. He knows how it goes. But Evie wove some sort of magic over him during their tumble in the sheets. He can't stop thinking about her laugh, her hand pressed flat against his chest, her smiling mouth at his neck. Also her eyes and her legs. So when she suddenly appears on his farm as part of a social media contest, he is confused. He had no idea that the sweet and sexy woman he met at a bar is actually a global phenomenon, social media influencer Evelyn St. James. When she disappears again, Beckett resolves to finally forget her and move on. But Evelyn St. James has a problem. Feeling disconnected from her work and increasingly unhappy, she's trying to find her way back to something real. She returns to the place she was last happy, Love Light Farms, and the tiny town of Inglewild. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the hot farmer she spent 2 incredible nights with. Nothing at all. In the Weeds is a sweet and steamy second chance romance about finding your happiness. It features a grumpy farmer, a no-nonsense social media influencer, a small town of busybodies, and 4 very cute kittens. In the Weeds is a standalone romance and is part of the Love Light series. So it doesn't say anything about fall, but I saw it on a couple of fall lists on Goodreads. So if you know if it's fall vibey, let me know down in the comments, okay? My next book is a new release. I actually have an ARC copy of it, but it's no longer really an ARC because it came out like 3 days ago. So this book was released on September 9th, and that is The Honeycrisp Orchard Inn by Valerie Bowman. I'm super excited. This cover looks super cute and cozy. So it says, for fans of the Love Light series and the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Perfect already. This cozy and sexy romance follows a young event planner who returns to her family's inn on an apple orchard to help run their harvest festival, only to find herself butting heads with the handsome son of the apple orchard's owners. Ellie Lawson's city life was treating her just fine until a sour turn of events knocks her out in one fell swoop. Dumped by her boyfriend and fired from her event planning job, she is left with no choice but to return to her parents' idyllic inn, nestled within a picturesque Honeycrisp orchard on Long Island. Anticipating a quiet hiatus in the attic apartment, she is instead met with Aiden, the stubborn, attractive son of the orchard owner, who is currently occupying her planned refuge. I'm just going to stop there because that already sounds super cute, and I'm already loving it. My next book is Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. Yes, let's see. It says, Farley Jones is a loud, chaotic, and hilariously clever stand-up comedian on the way to stardom. The only thing she loves more than the rush of telling jokes in front of an audience is her hot older manager, Meyer, though he doesn't have a clue. Keeping her feelings hidden from him is agony, a tragedy even. In lieu of flowers, please send cash. But Meyer has been Farley's closest and most treasured friend, not to mention vital to the trajectory of her career. She can't risk ruining relationship by telling him how she truly feels about him. A former stand-up star himself, a single father, Meyer Harrigan, left the stage years ago in order to focus on raising his deaf daughter, Hazel. Farley has been everything to them since she came into their lives 3 years ago, and despite his grumpiness, his protectiveness over Hazel, and his disdain for public attention, Meyer will do anything to make Farley's stand-up dreams come true. We know how I feel about a single dad. I have a feeling I'm going to love this one. Next up on the fall TBR is Take It or Leaf It by Lainey Hatcher. This synopsis is a little long, so I'm definitely not going to read the whole thing. It says, William Clark IV never anticipated being back in his hometown, at least not until he had a long and successful career as a pitcher in the major leagues. He couldn't have foreseen his career-ending injury right out of the gate or the painful return up to his family's apple farm in rural North Carolina. What started as an effort to get back on his feet turned into nearly a decade of going with the flow. Now the grumpy farmer is stuck in a resentful rut. He's bitter and bearded, and baseball is a sore spot that never stops aching. Not when his well-meaning neighbors keep reminding him of everything he has lost. Becca Kernsey never expected to fall in love with a town. To be fair, she'd never had much luck with men either, but the tiny hamlet of Kirby Falls completely blindsides the city girl and makes her ache for something she's never had a place to belong. The residents are quirky and lovable, the setting is picturesque perfection, and it doesn't hurt that she keeps running into Will Clark and his faithful dog. Getting a reluctant smile out of the handsome farmer becomes her favorite pastime, but pretty soon her innocent crush gets out of hand. Becca ignores the looming expiration date on her trip down south, and like a helpless cliche, she finds herself falling hard for the man that she met on vacation. That sounds so cute. Next up on my possibly maybe fall TBR is Gothicana by Ruinix. This has been on my fall TBR before, and I didn't get to it. We'll see if I have time for all of these books. These are all ones that I would love to get to, but in the end, will my schedule, will my energy level allow it? We shall see. So Gothicana says, I can already tell you the print of the font of the print is not easy for my eyes to read for some reason. I had this problem last time. An unusual girl, an enigmatic man, an ancient castle, what could go wrong? An outcast her entire life, Corvina Clem is left adrift after losing her mother. When she receives the admission letter from the mysterious University of Varenmore, she accepts it as a sign from the universe. The last thing she expects, though, is an olden, secluded castle on top of a mountain riddled with secrets, deceit, and death. An enigma in his entire life, Vad Deverell likes being a closed book, but knowing exactly everything that happens in the university. A part-time professor working on his thesis, Vad has been around long enough to know the dangers the castle possesses, and he knows the moment his path crosses with Corvina, she's dangerous to everything that he is. They shouldn't have caught each other's eye, they cannot be, but a chill-inducing century-old mystery forces them to collide. People have disappeared every 5 years for over 100 years, and Corvina is getting clues to unraveling it all, and Vad needs to keep an eye on her. Woo! And I just love that some of the pages there's like on the chapter pages. I just love that. I love that little added detail. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get to this one as well. Up last, but definitely not least, is Fairytale by Veronica Lancet. This book was recently sent to me by Atria since I am a partner, and it seems like a perfect read for spooky season. So the only thing I'm concerned about is that it's a gothic fantasy romance. I'm not much of a I am definitely a fantasy romance reader. It's the gothic part that has me kind of worried. Let's read the synopsis. August 1955, when Miss Darcy O'Sullivan, an orphaned English teacher from Boston, receives a letter that her biological father passed away, she is surprised to find herself included in his will. There is only one condition. She must travel to Fairdale to attend his funeral. With the promise of a sizable inheritance, Darcy decides to journey to the small coastal town that holds the secrets of her birth. But the moment she steps foot into Fairdale, things start to go amiss. Odd residents, odd rumors, odd deaths. Everything about Fairdale is odd. Everything including brooding Caleb Hale, part of the infamous Hale family. During the day, she falls deeper and deeper under his spell as he forces her to step out of her comfort zone and embrace her inner sensuality. But at night, it's another man who haunts her dreams. Aemon Dieturn. I'm not sure I said that right. A nobleman who lived 2 centuries ago. Aemon is sweet and suave, where Caleb is intense and dangerous, and Darcy feels more torn than ever. Soon she finds herself embroiled in a web of lies, deceit, and inexplicable events that make her question her sanity. When an ancient evil threatens the town and everything Darcy holds dear, she must make the ultimate choice. But will she survive? So it says Fairytale is a dark gothic historical romance with horror, paranormal, and fantasy elements. This is not a traditional love story. It features a villainous love interest that would end the world for his beloved, and an all-encompassing love story spanning millennia. This is not suitable for people under the age of 18, and check those trigger warnings before you read it. I don't know. I have a feeling this might be the exception, and I might actually love it. All right, so there you have it. Those are the 13 books that I would love to get to in fall. Like I said, it may or may not happen. 13 is a lot to try to get to in, 3 months? So 2.5 months, really. So we'll see what I can achieve. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to let me know that you were here, tell me a book that's on your fall TBR. If you don't really have anything to say, leave me a leaf emoji. And don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you would like to. And I will catch you next time. Bye.